Yeah, morning, Joe. I'm David Griffiths, so the procurement manager for JB Riney Limited, predominant highways maintenance contractor based out of East London and operating across various boroughs within London.
Thank you. So the JB Riney business, can you give us a bit of a description, slight history of the business and what type of work it does within the boroughs of London?
Yeah, sure. So JB Riney historically was a family-run business by the Riney family. Been in operation for in excess of 40 years. Back in 2017, Tarmac Contracting acquired the business, or Tarmac Limited acquired the business to bolster its contracting works and expand its footwork within London and on the highways network. So as a business, JB Riney is predominantly highways maintenance and civil engineering works, although we operate and have various internal divisions of our own, such as street lighting, surfacing division, and obviously term maintenance is where the bulk of our works are.
Riney's have been a collect customer of euromix for several years now. And how have you found that relationship?
Yeah, the relationship's been great, and it's gone from strength to strength, and so yeah, particularly over the last sort of 2 to 3 years, we've sort of tried to grow the relationship with the likes of Euromix and obviously Tarmac as well, but predominantly Euromix because of its plant locations and the relationship that we've got with obviously the likes of yourselves and your colleagues. But yeah, as a collect customer, it's been really good for our business as well and helped us with our works.
So obviously we wanted to talk about some specifics today, and what I'd like to discuss was what was the issue, what was or what opportunity did you see, what was the issue that led you to engage with Euromix, for you to start to operate differently, wanting to operate more efficiently? What was that issue that drove the conversations around sustainability and how we could work closer together as a strategic partnership?
Well, ideally we had no specific issues, and as a business, it was working, but we could have continued as we were quite happily. But we identified in 2020 that, obviously with the pandemic and everything like that was going on, we was obviously at times on reduced workforce, although we was key workers in keeping the highways network for London open. But we started then to have a look at the way we operate as a business, and particularly around the concrete collections from the plants and getting the materials to site and how we use the materials on site. And we identified that, we was using a lot of our own internal resources in moving materials from A to B. So predominantly on the back of grab lorries, sending them into the plants each morning, along with all the other collect customers that you had, that, we'd have a lot of downtime with vehicles waiting in queues for materials. Which then obviously the sites were waiting for materials. So we just identified that, we probably had more vehicles on the network than we needed to be. So, from a sustainability and environmental, impact, that we could have improved that. And, also from a health and safety element as well, we've got big articulated vehicles or heavy goods vehicles, delivering materials out to sites, most of them residential streets, whereas we identified that if we utilised Euromix more and the capability of the drum lorries, that it could have run as a more, safer operation.
It was a change in mindset, wasn't it? Your guys were used to the grabs, weren't they? They were used to the volumetrics as well. And it was a change, a step change in how that relationship worked internally, using an external supplier to bring your material to site. Now, I think it's quite easy to say. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe, I think we're the only business that, through you approaching us, I think we're the only business that supplies drum lorries on a multi-drop approach. You know, where we have one mixer supplying a number of sites with one load of concrete going to 3 or 4 different sites. How has that benefited your business?
Yeah, it's benefited it, greatly. And as you say, you are correct. It's the evolution of the riney business. So we did operate with our own in-house volumetric vehicle for a number of years, and then we identified that there was again a lot of downtime with the vehicle and the operation. So we then moved from a volumetric vehicle to then flooding the plants with grab lorries, and then we've evolved into the euromix setup. So giving us the benefits of site-based deliveries, being on the back of the drum, the material's fresher, so yeah, it's evolved massively for us, and it has benefited us because we still get materials when we want. You've got a bigger fleet of vehicles, so you offer more coverage at the same time, whereas we was restricted before with limited number of vehicles, producing materials and everything like that. So the benefits have been massive by using euromix in this kind of setup that we're doing.
Could you quantify the reduction of vehicle movements in and around London by operating differently, by operating this way?
Yeah, so last year, so 2020, despite there being, reduced works throughout various periods of the year due to lockdowns and restrictions, etc., and obviously, clients shifting their type of works to highways works being carried out, to more social distancing measures being installed. Despite that, we still operated with around 3,000 grabs on the road throughout the course of the year. So, that's a lot of heavy goods vehicles moving around London and everything like that. We've identified that the bulk of the works were picking up concrete from a concrete plant and ferrying it around to various different sites and multi-dropping off the back of a grab lorry, whereas obviously that's not particularly the best use of that kind of vehicle. So we've identified that by removing that operation and shifting towards a euromix multi-drop dedicated drum lorry, we've probably reduced our number of grab vehicles by around 20% in a year. So probably removed 700 grab days from across the year.
That's a significant amount. That is a significant amount. So we've working together collaboratively. This relationship seems to be beneficial to both businesses, both tarmac business, both tarmac owned businesses, both euromix and JB Riney, by utilising the euromix fleet more efficiently with the multi-drop service. On the back of that, has there been any other benefits to the Riney business in regards to waste costs, sustainability, anything in regards to that?
Yes, I mean the costs. There's been cost reductions because, as I say, we're less dependent on the hiring of external vehicles and not necessarily utilising them as best as we should. So we've obviously done a massive reduction, as we've touched on. So a big reduction on the trucks on the road through a strategic partnership that we've obviously opened up with yourselves. We've reduced the waste costs through greater visibility of waste. Before it was a lot of the deliveries on the back of a grab is unmeasurable, and therefore did result in an element of waste. whereas obviously on the back of a mixer truck, you know, it's a measured load. So, you know, the waste has ultimately disappeared or certainly reduced. But not only that, obviously with working with sort of industry experts such as yourselves, you know, we've actually been able to explore, you know, some more sustainable mix designs, you know, for our sites and for our clients.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. You know, you wanted to look at that net zero angle, that sustainability perspective. What could you do as a responsible business? And you know, it was a simple, it was quite a simple step, but quite an effective step. That, you know, moving away from 100% cement mix to where we've gone to a 50% blended with cement replacement, but still able to produce a quality mix that, you know, still provides the same benefits. You know, we've managed to reduce the amount of tippers and grabs you've got on the road by utilising, you know, the existing euromix fleet. You know, and that's the power of the Tarmac group. You know, we've been able to quantify, manage and reduce your waste costs, which means that you're using your materials more efficiently and still producing the same work. And from a sustainability angle perspective, we're using a much more environmentally responsible mix by reducing the amount of cement in the mix by replacing it with a cement replacement, a recycled material in ground granulated blast furnace slag. How do you see, probably the last question, how do you see the relationship evolving between the two Tarmac group businesses, between JB Riney and euromix?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much, although we was a collect customer for a number of years, operating in this new fashion is still, you know, fairly in its infancy. But from our business perspective, it can only go from strength to strength. You know, JB Riney are an innovative business, and obviously euromix as well. And you know, both of us being part of the Tarmac group is, you know, it is great that we've got the, you know, the support behind us. As I say, we've got, you know, industry experts, you know, from technical, you know, and the support even down to the, you know, the guys at the plant, you know, are great and on hand to help us as well with the deliveries, the mixes and everything like that. So, you know, there's lots of synergies that we're able to, you know, build upon together. So moving forward, you know, it's as we've done on recent projects, you know, you've supported us by attending client meetings and, you know, recommending various materials, mixed designs, you know, and for us, it's been able to really throw it out there in our offering to the client, knowing that we've got that support behind us from the likes of yourselves at euromix. So for us, it's a great move forward, and it can only go from strength to strength.
Oh, well, thanks very much for that, Dave. And I really do appreciate your time. I know you've got quite a busy diary, so just taking the time out to answer a few of the questions and help us out and contribute to this online forum on net zero. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No worries. All the best. Thanks, Joe.